Hey there, it's Jason Smith, PGA Director of Instruction at Timaquana Country Club. Today we're going to be talking about backswing depth, something you may hear a lot about if you kind of run in circles, the golf swing circles as I call them. And if you do a lot of reading or you listen to YouTube videos about golf swings, in layman's terms, I like to call backswing depth, how far can you get the club away from the line of the golf ball? So if we drew a line from the golf ball to the target, how far can you move that golf club in and around and up away from that line? The bigger you make that circle, obviously the more room you have to create speed in the downswing. It also, in my opinion, helps tremendously when we talk about shallowing the golf club, and that's really the example I'm going to give here today. So these are two students of mine. On the left, we have a very low handicap golfer, excellent golf swing, very high-speed player. As you can tell, very tall, very long, kind of the prototypical modern golfer. And on the right, a aspiring high school player who is starting to get a handle on her swing mechanics and kind of understanding what it is she wants to do with the golf club. So if we take these two golfers to the top of their backswing, you're going to see two tremendously different positions. On the left, we've got great depth as measured by the red line there going right through the ankle bone. And on the right, no depth. The club works almost straight up and down, very vertical. So there's two main contributing factors, in my opinion, to depth. The first being the most important, the turn, right? So the more you can move that right hip for a right-handed golfer, let's call it the trail hip, out of the way, the more you can turn your shoulders, the easier depth is going to be to achieve, right? So if you don't move your hips and you don't turn your shoulders, there's really no place left for the club to go but up. Now, obviously, these two players both have a tremendous amount of turn, as you'd expect from, a high-level golfer and then obviously a younger female golfer. Turning is certainly not the problem. Now, the second contributing factor to either a lack of depth or the presence of depth is this left arm position. Okay, so you're going to see two really different left arm positions if we measure against the spine angle. You can see golfer on the left, almost a perfect 90 degrees, whereas golfer on the right, the hands and arm have worked much more vertical. As you can see, that also affects the trail arm position. Golfer on the left, the elbow's almost directly underneath the palm, and golfer on the right, that right elbow has really worked away from the body and gotten out there into kind of no man's land. So I'm going to delete some of these lines to make the rest of the video a little bit more easy to see. So when we start to move the club back the other direction, and this is where I think depth is really important for the average golfer who may struggle with steepness or a little out to in over the top pattern in their downswing. If you don't have this depth, it's going to be more difficult to shallow. This club has a lot further distance to cover to get back down onto plane, and overall I haven't seen a lot of players who lack depth shallow the golf club really, really well. So golfer on the right, we want to see the club go back in here, kind of inside the wedge. And as you can tell, it's a long way to go. We're going to put her into motion. You can see the club comes right back down towards the ground. Shaft gets almost 90 degrees, halfway down. Golf club's well outside the plane and working across. So this golfer was struggling with obviously inconsistent contact. That shot was very heavy. Some really, really steep, deep divots. And even when she did make solid contact on the club face, a general lack of efficiency and power. Just not a great energy transfer swinging the club from that position. If we move over to the golfer on the left, because he's got the golf swing in such a better position at the top of the backswing, very, very easy to get the club back down inside our wedge, very shallow, shaft through the right forearm. This is kind of what you expect to see from very, very high-level players. If you watch the PGA Tour, this is a very common position right here. Shaft through the right forearm, club face parallel to the right bicep. You can see as he works back down through impact, very, very square, very shallow, and club's working right back up through the wedge. So this gentleman on the left hits a 7-iron about 180 and is super, super efficient on top of having a boatload of speed. So, you know, golf's pretty easy when you swing like this. Golfer on the right after this lesson actually made some tremendous strides very, very quickly, trying to round out her golf swing. One of the drills that I had her work on was we got on an extreme side hill lie and made her take a boatload of golf swings with the ball well above her feet, just to force the club to work more around and force that left arm or lead arm to go more across her chest. That's one of the things I like working with younger golfers. Besides not having as many preconceived notions about what they're supposed to be doing in the golf swing, their swings tend to be more malleable and they can make change happen very, very quickly. If you have any questions about backswing depth or any of the other things that we talk about in these videos, or if you're just struggling and you want to get better, please feel free to reach out to me, and I hope this video helped. Take care.